Hey everyone, this is Angie with Too Cool Stamping, and I wanted to do a quick video today just giving you a sneak peek of some items in the upcoming Occasions catalog. Our brand new Occasions catalog will be coming out January 3rd of 2018, so I wanted to give you just a couple sneak peeks. If you want to get a copy of the catalog and you don't have another demonstrator, I will be happy to send you a copy. I'm going to have my first mailing going out sometime next week, and I have a request link that you can find on my blog at toocoolstamping.com, and you can just request a catalog and I'll send that to you for free. I'll also give you a copy of the brand new Celebration promotion flyer that you can earn some free products during the time that this Occasions catalog comes out as well. So let's look at the product or the project that we're going to be looking at today. I always do two cool projects, and this one is featuring the Heart Happiness stamp set, and I'll walk you through that and I'll show you a little bit more about each of the new products so you can get kind of an idea of how they look and how they work. So let's start by, we're going to make this card today. I'm just going to put that up here, and our base is with the powder pink cardstock, and I'm just going to fold that in half and score it with a bone folder. And then we have a 4 by 5¼ piece of Whisper White, and we're going to start building some strips of the Painted with Love Designer Series paper. So let me just show you. The thing I really love about the Painted with Love Designer Series paper is that it's a specialty paper that has gold foil in it. Let me show you. You have 6 different foil designs, and I'm going to just put that in the light a little bit. Look at all that beautiful foil. So pretty. So here are the stripes that we're using on the bottom, but it also has several different, it's called Painted with Love, and it really does look like brush strokes of paint with beautiful colors like Berry Burst. It might be Melon Mambo, Rich Razzleberry, Calypso Coral. Really fun, and I love the hearts because of course this is kind of a Valentine's oriented. But the thing that's different about this paper this time, we've had specialty papers with the foil in it before, but most of the time there's nothing on the back of the specialty sheets. They're just blank on the back. And so this time they have really pretty designs that you can use on the back, and I absolutely love that. I think they're just so gorgeous. It's going to be hard because if I want to use this, I'm going to have to cover up the beautiful foil on the back. That's going to be a hard decision to make. So anyway, this is the Painted with Love Designer Series paper. So I put a strip of that along the bottom. It's 4 inches by a 1/2 inch. And then I'm going to build on that. See, I'm having to cover up that beautiful foil. Oh well, it's just so pretty, both sides. So we'll put that on the bottom. Then we're going to put a piece of gold foil, and I embossed the gold foil. This is, and let me give you a measurement on this one. It's 4 by 1. This one is 4 by 3¼ and it's the gold foil. We're going to emboss that with a brand new embossing folder. And the embossing folders are called Petal Pear, and there's 2 of them, and it's kind of hard to see what the textures are, but let me see if I can give you a better idea. I don't know if the camera picks that up or not, but this one is a striped one that has little leaves on it. Kind of looks like a vine. I don't know if you can see that very well. And then the one that we are using is a floral design. Let me see if this will pick it up a little bit better. There we go. So that is what we're using, and we're using it on the foil. I guess you could look at this. That would be helpful. Anyway, that's the pattern that we're using on the foil. I love embossing foil, and so I went ahead and did that, ran that through the Big Shot, and we'll put that along the top of these other strips. Okay, then we're going to do some embossing, and we're going to use gold embossing and a brand new stamp set. So here's another sneak peek. We're going to use the Petal Palette stamp set. It comes with these beautiful, kind of a watercolor look image, and then look at all these awesome sentiments that you get inside of this. There's 2 different stamp cases. It's so huge of a stamp set. I love it. And it also comes as a bundle with a bunch of different die cuts. This is the Petals and More Thinlits dies. So you can combine those. That way you can cut your bird out, and the beautiful roses you can get cut out. And there's also some additional little decorative pieces that you can get little die cuts from. So really, really pretty. But I love the sentiment so much, and I use the Life is So Much Better With You in It sentiment for the top piece here. Now let me give you a couple of tips on embossing. First, use this embossing buddy. It always helps. Just run it right over your cardstock where you want to place your stamp, and that way you won't have any remnants of embossing powder floating around. Sometimes you'll have little pieces that get stuck to the paper just with static, or maybe some oil from your fingers, and that helps to eliminate that. So we're going to use our Versamark ink, and we'll just tap that and then stamp that on our paper. This is some clear sticky ink. And then we can use some of our gold embossing powder. I'm just going to sprinkle that over the top and tap off the excess so you get a nice clean image. Then we're going to use our heat tool, and we're just going to emboss that with the heat tool until it's nice and glossy and smooth. I didn't want to do that in the video. Takes a little more time than I wanted to. So I have that already done for us. So here it is, already ready to go. Now we're going to show you another new product, because we're going to put some cool new ribbon on there. This is our Whisper White 1/4 inch organza ribbon. So pretty, you can see through it. And it's also white, so you could alter it if you wanted to make it a color, but we're just going to use it as white. And this is a 10-inch piece of that ribbon, and we're just going to tie it around the bottom here. And I'm just going to tie it in a double knot. I like to do faux bows. Bows are sometimes troublesome. You can't get them to lay right, and I just like the look of a simple double knot bow. And I find when I pull this extra tail, I just pull that down as tight as I can get it, and then pull this other side. That's going to make a nice pretty knot. And then I'll just trim the edges here, the ends, and work that around where I want it to. Okay, now we're going to mount that on our card base. And there we go. Okay, so we have that pretty card base ready to go. All we have left is the focal point, and that's another sneak peek. This one is with the Heart Happiness stamp set. Look at all those really cute heart shapes, and just really, really fun little detailed hearts. Little flower, and I love this little floral, and that's what we're going to stamp with today. I already did the embossing for you, so we're just going to use the Versamark again with this is the photopolymer stamp, and you want to definitely make sure that when you do the photopolymer stamping that you use a paper piercing mat underneath it. That's going to give it some extra cushion to allow the stamp to make contact with all of the paper, so you don't have any empty blotches in the middle. So you have a nice, clean, crisp stamped image that transfers nicely. Then we'll sprinkle on some more gold embossing powder, heat it up again with the heat tool, and we'll have a nice, beautiful image. Now to color these in, I am loving these Stampin' Blends markers. Have you got these yet? These are awesome markers, and they're alcohol based. They come with a bullet point end. It's called the fine tip end. And then they also have a brush tip end. And so you can do lots of fun coloring. Also, they come in 2 different shades. So you have a light version and a dark version. This is Calypso Coral, and so you have a light and a dark. So I'm going to use these. These are awesome for blending and shading, but we're not really going to do blending and shading this time. But the thing I really love about using Stampin' Blends for this particular purpose is that I love the brush tip end. It really gets into the little tiny details on this image, and it's fast. When you're using maybe classic inks in a blender pen, I love that look too, but you have to dip it in the ink and then transfer it onto your paper, and it's a lot more, it takes a little bit longer. The ink is very rich. It's very, there's a lot of flow to it, so it saturates your area very, very quickly. So it doesn't take a lot of time to color. So let me just show you how quickly we can color. And I'm not really right on top of it, so I probably will go out of the lines a little bit. That's okay. We don't care about that. Now the other tip I want to tell you about when you're coloring with the Stampin' Blends on the embossing is that alcohol from the marker does not mix very well with the embossing powder. And so you need to be very careful to just have one light layer of color. You don't want to do a lot of blending. You don't want to do a lot of shading over the top of that embossing powder, because it's going to start to discolor the powder, and it'll make it dull. It'll make the finish dull. It will no longer be shiny, and it might even turn it gray. I found I was going to do some shading on these particular flowers, and I really felt like it really muddled up the embossing powder enough that I didn't want to do that. So when you layer all of these colors on, you just want a single light layer. So we're just barely putting some color in each of the petals. So I used the Calypso Coral, the light version, and then I colored in some of the smaller flowers with the darker. Now I'm using the light of the Rich Razzleberry. And then I'll go in with the darker Rich Razzleberry and do some little flowers here. And you just barely have to touch the paper. That saturates the paper very well. And it also bleeds through. So this one isn't doing it very much since we're having kind of a light touch. But you'll want to be careful with the blends because it does bleed through, so you want to have something down on your work surface to protect it. Now, before we go on with the green, I did the colors here, Calypso Coral, Rich Razzleberry. I also wanted to add powder pink because that's another color in this paper that we're using, the Painted with Love paper. But we don't have a Stampin' Blend, so I just used a regular Stampin' Write marker to add a little bit of that color. You could probably get away with using the Pink Pirouette Stampin' Blends if you wanted to. And then I'll finish it off with the Old Olive in the light color only for all the leaves. And just look how fast it colors. It just really fills in that color very well, very quickly. Almost done. Now, we want to, when we're done coloring, we are going to want to die cut this. So here is what we come up with. Isn't that pretty? It kind of reminds me of like an old porcelain vase. I just love that look. So we'll want to die cut this, and Stampin' Up! Is awesome because their coordination means that we can use something that we might already have in our toolbox, and that is the Sweet and Sassy heart framelits. So we're just going to use one of these framelits and die cut the heart out, which I already did here. And we'll finish up this card by just adding a couple of dimensionals on the back. And then add that right to the top. I'm going to tilt it this time. Make it a little bit different. So there you go. That is our Painted with Love card. Perfect for a Valentine's Day, but just perfect for any kind of a love theme occasion, an anniversary, or just to tell a friend that you care about them. So that is the first version. And then the second version that I did is the horizontal. I like to do two cool versions. We use all the same basic elements. So we have the 1/2 inch piece here. We have the flip side of that same designer series paper. So we did use the gold foil hearts on that one. And then I put the gold foil over here on the edge to kind of anchor that side. I loved how I had a whole strip here in the middle that was white. And for this one, I actually I use a different stamp set. This one's called Sure Do Love You. It's actually a bundle. And so I stamped with that one and then used the die cut from the framelits that go along with it. I think it's called Lots to Love Box Framelits. And I'm going to wait till another time when we're featuring more from that set to show you what that looks like. So there are a few sneak peeks from the upcoming Occasions catalog. Again, if you want a copy of the Occasions catalog, just let me know. You can email me, or you can also use the request link that I have on my blog, and that's at www.toocoolstamping.com. So for today, this is Angie, and I'll talk to you soon. Have a Too Cool day. Bye-bye.